Hey, this is Craig Ballantyne from earlytorise.com and the author of Financial Independence Monthly. And you've probably heard me talk about my daily documents, my guiding daily documents. I've mentioned this in my vision video and several newsletters that I've written. And I always get questions from people, what are these daily guiding documents? And what do you do with them? And so here's what they are. I'm going to share them with you today. And I read them every day, generally about noon, anywhere between noon and 5 p.m. after I've got a lot done. And it all starts with this big black book. And then I go through the rest of these. And they help me with my business. They give me ideas to post those quotes on my Facebook pages at successqa.com and craigballantynefanpage.com and even at turbulencetrainingfanpage.com. And so I get a lot of my ideas for the quotes in there, and this is where I wrap up my day. So this black book, which a customs officer once went through and was confused by all the scribbles in it, this is my gratitude and achievement journal. So I first got the idea for a gratitude journal from a guy named Vishen Lakhiani, who runs a site called Mind Valley. And I'll talk about the gratitude stuff in a second, but there's also an achievement side, and I got this from a guy named Dan Sullivan, and I believe it's from his CD called The Gap. And The Gap is a great CD, it's a great little book, and I highly recommend you check it out. And in it, he recommended writing down 5 things that you've achieved each day. So on this one column here, I write down 5 things that I've achieved in that course of the day. It might be writing an Early to Rise newsletter. It might be completing Financial Independence Monthly. It might be connecting with an old friend. It might be going somewhere, for example, on my travels. Or it might be a physical achievement. I ran a mile in 6 minutes today, or I bench pressed a new record. Just achievements to remind you that you got a lot done that day, every day. It's fantastic. And Dan Sullivan recommends that you get your kids to do this as well, because it shows them the power of what taking action can do. And it gets them in a good, positive mindset. On the other side, the very first thing I do, thanks to Vishen, is I do the gratitude journaling. And so I put the date, and then I put what I'm grateful for, what I had the opportunity to do that day, and what I actually did, like the specific tasks, and then what I'm going to do tomorrow, and then who I appreciate. So that's usually where I write down a lot of my friends and business partners. So I do the gratitude, then I do the achievement stuff, wrap that up, and then I move on first to reading one of the Kekich Credos from a guy named Dave Kekich. He has 100 of these, so it'll take you 100 days to get through them. You'll get through the entire list 3 times in a year. And he's got great insights. And you can download a free copy. If you just go to Google and type in Dave Kekich Credos, Joe Polish, you'll get sent to a page where Joe interviews Dave, and they have a download of the 100 Kekich Credos. And if you go to my site, earlytorise.com, you'll see my interpretations of each one. So I've written a big free report on here's what how I apply Kekich Credo number 33 to fat loss and to business. And so I've spent years going through that and refining that, and you can have that for free at earlytorise.com. After I've done my Kekich Credo for the day, I go on to a list of 20 things from a guy named Ted Nicholas, and these are his 20 daily affirmations that I got out of one of his books at the very back, and I think it was $1 Billion Copy or something like that. And they're very simple. It's like, one is, I feel terrific. I'm happy to be alive. I can make my life anything I want it to be. I will write with honesty and feeling. And here's a really good one. The world does not reward average people, so I will be extraordinary. And each day I just read one of them. And sometimes it's a good click. I go, I need to share that on Facebook. Or, that reminds me to write an article about this topic. And a lot of these things, it's like a horoscope. When you're looking for inspiration on one thing, you just happen to read it that day in these documents. Now, my documents are going to be different than yours. I mean, you might not be interested in Ted's stuff, but you might say, I remember reading that book, and they had a list of 20 things that I should review on a daily basis. Well, I'm going to copy out that list, and I'm going to review one of those each day. So again, my lists here, these don't mean a thing to you, but what they do mean is that you should find your own. Although I do recommend getting the Kekich Credos. Almost everybody should have that. Next up is 10 Things to Do This Month by Dan Kennedy. Just 10 ideas. So this one helps me the most when I'm writing my emails. Like, oh yeah, I haven't done a celebrity tie-in to this product. I'm going to be reminded to do that in my emails today. Very simple stuff. There's just 10 great ideas. And it's from one of his No BS books. Next up is a massive 3-page list of ideas from my friend Bedros Keuilian. And this is just compiled from all of his articles. And there's 72 ideas from Bedros here. 72 different things. And so I go through one a day. And they're very simple things. Set massive goals. Fail forward. Destroy negative self-talk. And like I said, it's just like a horoscope. It seems like the day that you need that information is the day that you read through your documents, and that's the thing that you're scheduled to read that day, and it helps you out. It seems to be that way for me. Next up, from Frank McKinney's book, Make It Big, his 49 Success Secrets. And you can see I have all of these things laminated, and I just go through them over and over again because I travel around the world with these. And I read them every day, no matter where I am, whether if I'm in Malaysia, or whether I'm in Hong Kong, or whether I'm in Lithuania. All these places that I've been this year, I take these with me. And so each one of these success secrets is a chapter title from Frank's book, Make It Big. Sure, it's a real estate book, but it's a really great philosophical book as well. So here's a couple that I like. Be prepared to fail before you succeed. And to live an extraordinary life, you must resist an ordinary approach. That's a great one from Frank. And another one, take time to recharge your battery. You won't get the golden egg without first taking care of the goose. Just simple stuff like that. Next up, 11 sales techniques from Yanick Silver. So this is another marketing one. And reminds me of when I'm creating products or when I'm trying to convince somebody to buy their first turbulence training product. What do I need to say to them? And a lot of these are from the book Influence by Robert Cialdini, Dr. Robert Cialdini, which is an important book for all business owners to read. Next up, another list from Yanick, his 34 rules for Maverick entrepreneurs. And you can get this free online. Just go and type in on Google, Yanick Silver, 34 rules Maverick entrepreneurs, and you'll be able to print this out and make your own page. And so, one of them here is your reputation always counts. Honor your obligations and agreements. And another one, mastermind and collaborate with other smart entrepreneurs if they have futures that are bigger than their present. Really important stuff here from Yanick. So it's not just business stuff, it's philosophical and lifestyle design, I guess, for lack of a better word, but really great tips from Yanick, who's been a mentor of mine for over 5 years now. Next up, we get some marketing triggers from Joe Sugarman, and I've got a list of his triggers here. And then some more stuff from Dan Kennedy on persuading people. So those are more marketing ones, and they remind me, yeah, I haven't used authority in my emails lately. I got to remind people that I've been writing for Men's Health for 12 years now. So it's just a reminder. Next up is 10 kind of rules that I've cobbled together from a whole bunch of articles on taking action and persuading people and thinking big. So obviously you won't be able to have that one in your repertoire, but you can come up with things that you find from various articles and just write them down. Things that you think you should be reviewing on a monthly basis so you make sure you get through that piece of advice at least once a month. Next up, 2 pages dedicated to goals and planning. So I have specific goals for family and financial stuff here and fitness, and then also my calendar for the year. And it helps me identify places where I can promote certain products or do certain things or where I will be traveling to certain events. And it gets my mind thinking and brainstorming. And so this is a fantastic, just going through this for 15 minutes a day, it gives you tons of ideas. And it helps me generate those quotes for my Facebook pages, as I mentioned before, which people look at as horoscope stuff too. I will always get at least one feedback each day from somebody who said, I needed that today. And this is the brainchild of those quotes. Okay, so the next is my 3-year vision. So I have about 5 or 6 things that I want to achieve each year. So various numbers of transformations and how many trainers I want to get certified in the turbulence training method. And so I go through and I'm like, am I on track to hit that number in 2015? And so it's a good reminder. Next up, if you haven't read my article at earlytorise.com/12-rules, go and read that. Print it out, make your own, and print that out too, and then review those. They help keep you on track for living the life that you want to live. So, for example, I have, I do not check email before 10 a.m. That's my rule. I got to follow that. It reminds me in case I'm sliding and checking it at 8:30 and cutting into my work time. And number 9 is I will help 1 million men and women transform their bodies and their lives. So I have my mission in my rules. Next up, I have some notes from Dan Kennedy's seminars. Just fantastic stuff. Every day I go through and check one off. And so go to seminars, whatever sticks with you that you think you should be reviewing on a regular basis. Put it in your daily guiding documents. More Dan Kennedy stuff, really, really powerful stuff that I got by paying a lot of money to attend his events. A lot of his advice connects with me, and that's why I go through it on a regular basis. Next up, we've set core values for both turbulence training and early to rise, and I review one of those each day as a reminder to make sure that I'm operating under my core values in each decision that I make in my businesses. And then finally, I've just added this last one, a list of 12 questions from a guy named Jim Collins, who's written Good to Great and several other excellent books. And I really like the 12 questions that I found in a recent, I think it was Inc. magazine, or it might have been Fast Company magazine interview with Jim. And I've written these down, and I review one of these each day as well. And so that's it. You can see a lot of them are philosophical, a lot of them are marketing, some of them are related to health and wellness as well. But that is what I review on a daily basis. It gives me energy, gives me great ideas, helps me with marketing problems, and comes up with great quotes that I can share with you to inspire your day as well. So, the simple advice to you is to make sure you have your gratitude and achievement journal, print off the Kekich Credos and Yanick's 34 Maverick business rules, and then come up with your own, as well as having a couple pages on your goals that you review on a regular basis to make sure that you're on track to reach the destination of your vision. So those are my daily guiding documents. I hope that helps. This is Craig Ballantyne from earlytorise.com, author of Financial Independence Monthly.